All right, let's jump right in, shall we? You guys asked for this one, a deep dive into Chilean wine. Get ready to explore Chilean wine history, the regions, the grapes, and what makes them so unique. We're going to be taking a look at excerpts from Viños do Chile. I'm pretty excited to dive in, especially the part about how Chile managed to avoid that phylloxera plague that devastated Europe.
Oh, yeah, and the story of the lost Carmenere grape. It's pretty fascinating how Chile has become a major player in the wine world, surpassing traditional wine giants even.
Like Australia and Argentina.
Yeah, exactly.
It's pretty impressive. There's the fourth largest exporter globally now.
And they brought in over 2 billion euros in 2023 alone.
Wow, 2.1 billion to be exact. And they're getting those impressive scores from critics internationally, even captured over 40% of Brazil's import market. I mean, Brazilians know their wine, right? So I'm curious, where did this Chilean wine journey begin?
Well, their success is rooted in tradition, innovation, and of course the ideal growing conditions we keep hearing about. It all started back in the 16th century with those Spanish conquistadors. They brought the Pays grape with them.
Ah, the Pays grape, also known as Criolla or Mission, right?
Yes, that's right.
So I'm guessing Pays was the star of the Chilean vineyard for centuries then.
It dominated for quite some time, but then in the 19th century, French winemaking practices came into play, introducing varieties like Cabernet Sauvignon, Merlot.
And don't forget the mysterious Carmenere.
Yes, of course, the Carmenere. We'll get into that later. But this blend of European expertise and the unique Chilean terroir is really what started to shape the industry.
It's really fascinating how they took those French techniques and gave them their own Chilean twist. But I gotta ask about the phylloxera epidemic that ravaged those European vineyards in the 19th century. How did Chile manage to avoid all that?
Well, their isolation with natural barriers like the Andes Mountains and the Atacama Desert actually ended up protecting their vines. Many vineyards still have ungrafted vines, vinhedos en pé franco. It literally means vineyards on their own roots. It's amazing to think about.
Yeah, they're like living relics of a pre-phylloxera world. I've heard that some wine experts actually believe those ungrafted vines give the Chilean wines a unique, pure, intense flavor you can't really get from grafted vines.
It's a tangible link to that bygone era of viticulture for sure. But should we maybe shift gears a bit and embark on a little geographical tour of Chile's wine regions? Each region has such a unique character.
I'm all for it. Let's start north. What about the Atacama Desert? That's the driest desert in the world. I can't imagine they're growing wine there.
You might be surprised. The Copiapo and Huasco valleys are proving otherwise. They've traditionally been known for pisco production, but now winemakers are experimenting with Syrah and Chardonnay, producing some pretty interesting wines, actually. It's an emerging region with a lot of potential.
Okay, so from the driest desert to a region with diverse microclimates. Let's talk about the Coquimbo region. It includes the Elqui, Limarí, and Choapa valleys, each shaped by those microclimates you mentioned.
Exactly. So you've got Elqui with those high altitude vineyards, lots of sunlight there. Then Lee Marie with the Pacific Ocean influence. And then Chihuahua, which is all about quality over quantity, small scale production. It's amazing how different they are.
It really shows the diversity of Chilean terroir. What about the Aconcagua region? It's home to the Aconcagua, Casablanca, and San Antonio valleys. Those cool coastal breezes and the warmth from the Andes Mountains must create some pretty elegant wines.
Absolutely. You'll find some highly rated wineries there, like Arboleda in Aconcagua and Matetic in San Antonio. They're known for their award-winning wines, but also their commitment to sustainability.
That seems to be a common theme with Chilean winemaking, this respect for the land. All right, let's head to the Central Valley, the heart of Chilean wine country. We've got the Maipo, Rapel, Curacao, and Mole valleys, some of the most recognized names in Chilean wine.
This is where those full-bodied reds Chile is known for are really produced. Each valley brings something unique. Like Maipo is known for its Cabernet Sauvignon, and Rapel excels with Carmenere. Curacao is perfect for Merlot, and Mole for Sauvignon Blanc.
And let's not forget the iconic producers in the region, Conchia Toros, Santa Rita, Montes, Casa del Apostol. They've really put Chilean wine on the map, wouldn't you say?
Definitely. Now, heading south, we have a region that really embodies both tradition and innovation in southern Chile, the Itata, Biobío, and Meleco valleys. They're all about embracing old vines, reviving ancient techniques, and pushing the boundaries of what's possible.
I've heard the Pays grape, that original Chilean variety, is having a bit of a renaissance in this region, especially with those natural, organic, and biodynamic wines.
You're right. One producer, Viña La Causa in Itata, is getting international acclaim for their Sinsalt Pass Carignan blend. It proves that those old vines can really produce some world-class wines.
It's a beautiful story. Tradition meets innovation. And finally, we arrive at the frontier of Chilean winemaking, the Austral region. This is where the Caatin and Osorno valleys are located. They're really pushing the boundaries with cool climate wines.
Pioneers like Casa Silva, Hato Las Gredas, and Vinitrenco are leading the way there. They're crafting wines that truly reflect the challenges and opportunities of the region.
We've covered a lot of ground, from the arid north to the cool south. We're really starting to see how Chile's diverse geography, its history, and those natural elements like the Andes Mountains, the Mediterranean climate, and the Humboldt Current all come together to make these incredible wines. And let's not forget about that phylloxera-free status, preserving those ancient, ungrafted vines. Truly unique.
It really is a fascinating combination of factors, and we haven't even delved into the grapes
Oh,
themselves.
that's right. Can't wait to hear about the specific grapes that thrive in these regions and what makes them so special.
Well, stay tuned. We'll uncork the fascinating world of Chilean grape varieties next time.
Welcome back to our Chilean wine deep dive. Last time, we really dug into the amazing diversity of Chile's wine regions, all the way from the Atacama Desert down to that cool Austral region.
It was pretty eye-opening to see how Chile's unique geography and its history have influenced their winemaking traditions. But now I'm ready to get down to the nitty-gritty, the grapes themselves. What are the stars of the Chilean vineyard?
Ah, yes, the grapes. Chile has an incredible variety of both reds and whites. But I think since we're talking about Chile, let's start with those reds, especially those bold, full-bodied reds they're so well known for.
I'm with you there. Everyone loves a good Cabernet Sauvignon, and I know Chile makes some truly fantastic ones. What sets Chilean Cabernet Sauvignon apart, though? Well, a Chilean Cabernet Sauvignon will often have this lovely balance between those white fruit flavors and more savory notes. You get that classic black currant, blackberry, but also those hints of cedar, tobacco, sometimes even mint. It's a really nice combination that makes them super food friendly and just, well, delicious.
I can practically taste it now. What about Merlot? That's another popular red that I know does quite well in Chile.
Merlot thrives in Chile's warm, sunny climate. The wines are typically softer in tannins, often have those lovely plummy fruit flavors. They're very approachable, even for someone who's maybe just beginning to explore red wines.
And I can't forget Syrah. It seems like Chilean Syrah is really having a moment right now.
You're absolutely right. Syrah loves the warmth of regions like the Central Valley. And a Chilean Syrah will often have this peppery, spicy character with dark fruit flavors and sometimes a little hint of smokiness. It's really gaining popularity around the world.
Okay, I have to ask about the grape that's almost Chile's claim to fame, the Carmenere. What a story, right?
Yeah.
Tell me more about how this lost grape ended up being Chile's signature variety.
It's pretty remarkable, isn't it? It originated in Bordeaux, France, but was almost entirely wiped out by that phylloxera epidemic in the 19th century. For a while, everyone thought it was extinct.
So how did it end up thriving in Chile?
Well, some of those Merlot cuttings that were brought over from France actually contain Carmenere vines. And because of Chile's isolation and its phylloxera-free status, it just flourished undetected for over a century.
Like they stumbled upon a viticultural treasure chest.
Yeah.
So what does Carmenere taste like? What makes it so special?
Imagine a wine with deep red color, soft tannins, and just really complex aromas. You'll often find black fruit like plums and blackberries. But then it gets interesting with hints of spice, maybe tobacco, sometimes even chocolate. Some describe it as having a kind of bell pepper or green peppercorn note.
Wow, that sounds incredibly unique and complex. No wonder it's become so popular. But we can't leave out those white wines. What white grapes are making a splash in Chile?
Chile is producing some really exceptional white wines, particularly in those cooler regions like Casablanca and San Antonio. Those Pacific Ocean breezes really help to moderate the temperatures. Chardonnay does exceptionally well there. They produce these really crisp, elegant wines with notes of citrus, apple, pear.
I bet Sauvignon Blanc shines there too.
Oh, absolutely. A Chilean Sauvignon Blanc is known for its zesty acidity and those vibrant aromas of grapefruit, passion fruit, and herbs. It's perfect for those who enjoy a refreshing white.
If you're looking for a white to pair with some seafood or maybe a light salad, Chilean Chardonnay or Sauvignon Blanc would be a great choice. Now, you mentioned earlier that the País grape, that original Chilean variety, is making a comeback. What's driving that?
It's a combination of things, really. There's a growing interest in preserving those heritage varieties and exploring what makes Pais unique. Plus, it fits in perfectly with the whole trend toward natural, organic, biodynamic wines. Pais has this bright acidity and these sort of earthy, sometimes a little funky flavors. Skilled winemakers are really making some amazing things with it.
It's like rediscovering those roots of Chilean winemaking while also looking ahead. I love that. Speaking of looking ahead, Chilean wine is more than just grapes. It's a whole culture, a way of life.
Exactly.
Chilean cuisine, for instance, is famous for its fresh seafood, incredible produce, and those bold flavors. I bet the wine pairings are out of this world. What are some of the classic combinations?
You're right. Chilean food and wine complement each other beautifully. Just imagine a rich, juicy Cabernet Sauvignon with a perfectly grilled steak. Or a crisp Sauvignon Blanc alongside a plate of fresh ceviche with all those citrusy, spicy flavors. And then, of course, you can't forget Carmenere with those traditional Chilean empanadas filled with seasoned ground beef and olives. The earthy notes of the Carmenere really complement those savory flavors of the filling.
You're making me hungry.
Hmm.
So we've covered the history, the regions, the grapes, and even the food pairings. Chilean wine has so much to offer, but there's one more thing I'm really curious about. Sustainability. I know Chile is a leader in sustainable winemaking. Can you tell me more about that?
Chilean winemakers are setting an example when it comes to sustainability. They really understand the importance of protecting their environment and preserving that land for future generations.
I'd love to hear more about the specific ways they're incorporating sustainability into their practices.
Well, for starters, so many wineries have embraced organic and biodynamic viticulture. That means minimizing or completely eliminating the use of those synthetic pesticides, herbicides, and fertilizers.
That's fantastic. It's great that they're taking such a holistic approach to managing the vineyards.
And they're not stopping there. Many wineries are also implementing things like water conservation measures, using renewable energy sources, and even getting creative with their packaging to reduce their environmental footprint.
It's impressive how they're considering every single step. And you mentioned earlier that Chile is becoming a popular destination for people who are interested in eco-conscious wine tourism. What does that look like?
A lot of wineries now are offering those eco-friendly tours and experiences. So they're encouraging visitors to explore the vineyards by bicycle, on horseback, using electric vehicles for transportation, and really highlighting all of their sustainable practices throughout that visitor experience.
It sounds like they're really putting their money where their mouth is, so to speak, showcasing their commitment in a way that's engaging and educational for those visiting.
Absolutely. It's a great way to connect with those travelers who share those values. But Chilean wine isn't just about preserving the past, it's also about embracing innovation. They're experimenting with new grape varieties, reviving ancient ones, even exploring some new winemaking techniques to push the boundaries of what's possible with Chilean wine.
It's like they're constantly pushing those boundaries, exploring new terroirs, finding creative ways to express that unique Chilean wine character.
Exactly. And as climate change continues to affect wine regions all over the world, Chile's focus on sustainability and innovation will only become more important.
It's really fascinating to think about how all of this will shape the future of Chilean wine. So after this incredible deep dive into the world of Chilean wine, what's the big takeaway for our listener?
Chilean wine offers a world of possibilities, really. It's a country with this rich winemaking history, diverse terroirs, and passionate winemakers who are so dedicated to producing high-quality wines while respecting the land and embracing innovation.
It's a compelling combination.
Yeah.
So what would you say to our listeners who are ready to go explore this world of Chilean wine?
I'd say go beyond the familiar Cabernet Sauvignon and Merlot. Seek out a bottle of Carmenere. Discover its unique, spicy, earthy character. Explore wines from the Aitata Valley, and experience that revival of those ancient varieties like Pagis. And when you're planning your next wine adventure, definitely consider a trip to Chile. You can see firsthand how sustainability and innovation are shaping the future of this exciting wine region.
Welcome back to our Chilean wine journey. We've uncovered so much, the history, the regions, those unique grape varieties, even talked about the incredible food pairings.
And last time we touched on what's really exciting about Chilean wine, their commitment to sustainability and innovation.
It's not just about what's in the bottle, is it? It's about the whole journey, from grape to glass. I'm really interested in hearing how Chilean winemakers are embracing those ideas.
Chilean winemakers are at the forefront, wouldn't you say? They really understand the importance of protecting the environment, preserving the land for the generations to come.
What are some of the specific ways they're doing that? Putting those beliefs into action?
Well, a lot of wineries are going above and beyond, really, like Emiliana, for
Oh, right,
example.
yeah.
One of the biggest organic wineries in the world, but they're also biodynamic, using preparations made from herbs, mineral extracts, to enhance the soil fertility and vine health. They even have animals integrated into the vineyards.
Oh, really?
Sheep grazing between the rows, chickens helping with pest control, alpacas just kind of being adorable and adding to the biodiversity.
That's pretty cool. It's like a whole ecosystem within the vineyard.
Exactly. It's a holistic approach. And it's not just them. Viña Chuapa, for instance, they're focusing on biodiversity as well, planting native trees, creating these wildlife corridors throughout their vineyards, really trying to restore that natural balance.
So inspiring to see that commitment. But those sustainable practices go beyond just the vineyards, right? What about things like water conservation or energy use?
Right. Many Chilean wineries are using drip irrigation to minimize water waste. They're harnessing solar power. And they're even experimenting with sustainable packaging materials.
It's really impressive. So they're thinking about every step of the process. You mentioned before that Chile is becoming a hotspot for eco-conscious wine tourism. What's that like in practice?
Well, they're encouraging visitors to explore the vineyards in a more eco-friendly way, by bike, on horseback, using electric vehicles to get around, and they're highlighting all their sustainability efforts throughout the experience.
It's a great way to connect with those travelers who share those values.
Mm,
But Chilean wine isn't just about holding on to the past, is it? It's about innovation, too.
exactly. They're experimenting with new grape varieties, bringing back some of those ancient ones, even exploring new winemaking techniques. It's really exciting to see.
It's like they're always pushing those boundaries.
Mm.
And with climate change being such a big challenge for wine regions all over the world, it seems like Chile's focus on sustainability and innovation is going to be even more important, right?
Absolutely. It'll be fascinating to see how those practices shape the future of Chilean wine.
It really will. So after this incredible deep dive into Chilean wine, what's the takeaway for our listeners?
Chilean wine offers a world of possibilities. They have such a rich history, diverse terroirs, and incredibly passionate winemakers who are dedicated to producing high-quality wines. But they're also doing it while respecting their land and embracing new ideas.
It's a pretty awesome combination. So what would you say to someone who's ready to dive into Chilean wine?
I'd say go beyond what you know. Go beyond the Cabernet Sauvignon and Merlot. Try a Carmenere, discover its unique spicy character, explore some wines from the Aitara Valley. Maybe you'll fall in love with Pais. And if you're planning your next wine adventure, consider Chile. Go see firsthand how sustainability and innovation are shaping the future of wine.
It's been such a fantastic journey exploring the world of Chilean wine. And as we raise a glass to the Chilean winemakers and their dedication, let's think about those exciting possibilities that lie ahead. Cheers.